I declare war. So this is my first live stream on my I Declare War channel.
Tell you why this is probably the most effective meal that you can ultimately eat to get in the best shape. Now, this isn't.
Just bear with me for a second. Sorry about that interruption. So as I was saying, this is my first live stream on my I Declare War channel. Hopefully people will eventually tune in. Unfortunately, I'm behind schedule. I was originally planning to do this hangout at 10 p.m., but because of things outside of my control, I'm behind schedule. So I hope people can bear with me. Please let me know if you can hear me in the chat room. You should be able to comment in the chat room and let me know. So there's a couple of people tuning in now. If you could let me know if you can hear me fine. Let me know if I'm choppy or not. I would appreciate it. And then I'll proceed to give this brief Google Hangout. I see we have a few people in the house. So if you can let me know, if you could type in the chat room and let me know if you can hear me, then I'll get started. So I'm assuming that people can hear me. Oh, okay. I see that a couple of people have said they can hear me. Shout out to Rella, Diamond, and Curl. Shout out to y'all. Thanks for tuning in. I don't know if you all are familiar with my New Possibilities channel, but I've been doing a lot of live streams over there. And my live streams got blocked because apparently I used some copyrighted material that was blocked globally. And for that reason, my live stream on my New Possibilities channel is down. So I'm going to do more live streams over here. But for this video right here, I want to talk about these Black Republicans who support Donald Trump. I want to talk about the House Negroes and their love affair with Donald Trump, literally and figuratively. So I hope you all can bear with me. I'm not going to make this a long hangout. It's going to be relatively short. Oh, I see that Rella said that she follows me over there as well. That's good to hear. I'm glad to see people are tuning in because I haven't been on this channel in a while. I haven't posted a video in like 4 months over here. So hopefully people will come over here. And I plan to do more videos on this channel. Plan to do, post regularly here again. But to start this off, I want to just go over the terminology being used. Malcolm X told us about the field Negro and the house Negro. And I'm going to read some excerpts from Malcolm X Speaks. This is like a go-to book. Malcolm X is like one of the leaders that I have been inspired by. I continue to read his speeches even to this day. That brother was one of a kind, and he was so on point. The thing is, unfortunately, a lot of the things that brother talked about are still relevant today. He talked about the house Negro. And this is what he said. He said, to understand this, you have to go back to what the young brother here referred to as the house Negro and the field Negro back during slavery. There were two kinds of slaves, the house Negro and the field Negro. The house Negroes, they lived in a house with master. They dressed pretty good. They ate good because they ate his food, what he left. They lived in the attic or the basement, but they still lived near the master, and they loved the master more than the master loved himself. They would give their life to save the master's house quicker than the master would. If the master said, we got a good house here, the house Negro would say, yeah, we got a good house here. Whenever the master said we, he said we. That's how you could tell a house Negro. If the master's house caught on fire, the house Negro would fight harder to put out the blaze than the master would. If the master got sick, the house Negro would say, what's the matter, boss? We's sick? We's sick. He identified himself with his master more than the master identified with himself. And if you came to the house Negro and said, let's run away, let's escape, let's separate, the house Negro will look at you and say, man, you crazy. What you mean separate? Where is there a better house than this? Where can I wear better clothes than this? Where can I eat better food than this? That was the house Negro. In those days, he was called a house nigger. And that's what we call him today, because we still got some house niggas running around here. And, he went on to talk about this, how the house Negro was afraid to separate from his master, afraid to run from his master. And he would say this, what you mean separate from America? This good white man? So that's the mentality of the house Negro. That's the mentality of the house slave that Brother Malcolm taught us about. And that's the mentality of these people that support Donald Trump. That's how they think. That's how they operate. And you all know about this recent story about how Donald Trump talked about Africa and Haiti. This man said, why do we want all of these people from these shithole countries coming here? And he went on to say, we need more people from places like Haiti. And when he was referring to shithole countries, he was talking about Africa, an entire continent he labeled as a shithole. This man called Haiti a shithole, and he called El Salvador a shithole. So this man is calling Black people worthless. This man is shitting literally on Black people. But yet and still, you have this man have some event at the White House where they were signing a proclamation about Martin Luther King Day. And I'm going to share my screen with you all so that you can see what I'm referring to. Just bear with me a second. So he had this proclamation, a proclamation celebrating Martin Luther King Day, acknowledging Martin Luther King Day. This is nothing new. This is something that happens in the White House going back to the days of Reagan. It happens under Democrats and Republicans. So this man had this ceremony at the White House. And guess who was surrounding this man? After this man has made all these racist statements, you have these buck dancing, shoe shining, ass kissing, step infesting, Uncle Ruckuses surrounding this man, supporting this man, laughing it up, smiling and taking photos with this man who just referred to their mother continent as a shithole. These people are worthless. These people are the definition of traitors. These people are sellouts, and these people are serving as buffers for this white supremacist. Because as long as he is surrounded by these house Negroes, he can avoid charges of racism. Because he could say, how am I a racist when I'm signing this proclamation celebrating Martin Luther King Day? How am I a racist when I'm surrounded by these Negroes? I'm not a racist. These people don't understand me. That's how he uses these people. And I just wonder what kind of self-respecting Black person would take a photograph with this man after he has referred to their motherland as a shithole, after he has referred to Haitians as coming from a shithole, after he has basically suggested that we need more white people in America instead of Black people. But yet and still, you have these Uncle Ruckuses, these Uncle Toms, these turncoats, these damn sellouts surrounding this man. And you have one of them, Martin Luther King Jr.'s nephew, Isaac Newton Ferris Jr. You know, this man attended this event. He's the man featured in the middle of the photograph, standing right above Donald Trump as he holds out this proclamation. That man said that he doesn't think Donald Trump is racist. He thinks that Donald Trump is just racially ignorant. I mean, how many more signs does this man need to realize that this man, Donald Trump, is a racist? How many more signs do these people need? Why are these buffoons supporting this man? Why would any black person in their right mind support this man, given his horrific track record when it comes to black people? This is a man who started that whole birtherism movement, where they demanded that the nation's first African-American president produce his papers to prove that he is an American citizen. Suggesting that somehow because he's black, because he has an African name, that somehow he's foreign, somehow he's not American. Playing in to all these racist notions. But yet you have these people celebrating this man, surrounding this man, supporting this man. These people are doing Martin Luther King a disservice. Martin Luther King fought against racism. He gave his life so that we could have freedom from oppression. But yet you have these people defaming this brother's name by sitting down with this racist, having this racist sign a proclamation for Martin Luther King. That's like having a Nazi celebrate the life of Anne Frank. That makes no sense. You have these people surrounding this man. They're supposed to be celebrating Martin Luther King, a man who fought for civil rights. But yet you have this president who is fighting against civil rights. But you still have these buffoons surrounding him. This is a man who called Mexicans criminals and rapists, and he said they were the ones bringing the drugs into the country. This is a man who referred to a black person in the crowd as his African American. This is a man who refers to black people as the blacks. This is a man who not long ago talked about Africans in huts and talked about how all the people in Haiti have AIDS. This is a man who encouraged his supporters to commit acts of violence against black protesters. This is a man who set up a sham voter fraud commission. Its purpose was to disenfranchise and suppress black voters and Latino voters. This is a man who has basically declared war on affirmative action, using his Justice Department to fight against affirmative action, basically weaponizing his Justice Department against the black community. This is a man who made excuses for those racists in Charlottesville, Virginia, when they had that racist rally over there, when they were bearing torches like the Nazis, bearing torches like the KKK. This man basically gave those people a pass. This man said that there were some fine people at that demonstration. A demonstration where you had a white supremacist fire a gun into a crowd. A demonstration where you had a white supremacist use his car as a weapon, injuring a lot of people and killing one. Where you had these white supremacists beating black people, beating one black man so severely the brother had to go to the doctor. He had a severe gash on his head and his face was covered with blood. But these are fine people in Donald Trump's mind, despite the fact that it was the racists committing the majority of the violence. This man had the nerve to say that there was blame on both sides. But this is the man that these people sit and chat with. This is the man that these people are clapping and smiling with. These Negroes have lost their damn mind. This is a man who supported racial profiling against black people, who supported New York-style stop and frisk. And let's break that down for a second. That's a program where they would stop innocent black people frisk them and harass them and humiliate them, dehumanize them, degrade them. Innocent Black people whose only crime was living in a particular neighborhood, whose only crime was having a certain skin color, being Black. That was their crime. That was a badge in the minds of the police, a badge of criminality. But yet you have this man who supports that and endorses it. You know, this is a man who reportedly said he doesn't want Black people counting his money. But yet you got these Black buffoons surrounding this man, laughing it up with this man, happy to be in his presence, happy to shake hands with this man. And I tell you, man, it's just insane. This is a man who has an anti-immigrant sentiment, you know, which is voiced by his statements about Africa and Haiti and about Mexicans. This man is anti-Muslim. This man is anti-women. This man is a scumbag. We have to remember this man's history as well. This is a man who was sued by the Justice Department twice for housing discrimination. He didn't even want to rent to Black people, but yet here you have these Black fools surrounding him, celebrating him, smiling with him, living it up with him, just happy to be in the presence of power. These people remind me of Judas when he sold out Jesus for a few pieces of money. These people remind me of traitors. These people are a disgrace to the Black race because they are providing this scumbag with cover. You know, and this man, like at this celebration, you know, this proclamation commemorating Martin Luther King's holiday, this man was asked about racism. This man is defiling the memory of King, a damn racist who's not fit to even sign that document commemorating King's life. He's not fit to do that. This man is defaming King just by participating in this. So at this commemoration, he was asked about whether or not he's a racist. The reporter, April Ryan, asked him this, and he refused to answer. Refused to answer. And then I was watching CNN, and you had this buffoon, this Uncle Ruckus on there, by the name, I think his name is Mark Burns, a pastor defending this man. I'm going to show his picture. This pastor right here, this Uncle Ruckus, this man using what he believes to be God's word to defend a scumbag like Donald Trump, to defend a man that called Africa, a whole continent, a shithole, to defend this man. You had this fool on here on CNN trying to defend him. And I just find it to be repulsive. It sickens me that you have people out here that will defend this nonsense. They will defend it. You know, this guy claimed a couple of things. You know, this guy, Mark Burns, you know, he claimed, first of all, that Donald Trump denied it, you know, so he used that as an excuse. And he also was trying to say that there were two other Republicans there that denied that Trump called Africa and Haiti shitholes. But the fact of the matter is those two Republicans that were there, they said that they couldn't recall what Donald Trump said. They couldn't recall him saying that. So they're not saying that he didn't say it. They're just saying that they couldn't recall. And we know that that's legalese for people who don't want to admit something, but they don't want to deny something as well. It's a way to weasel out of the truth, a way to weasel away from being accountable, a way to weasel out from proclaiming what happened. But you had many Congress people who said that that's what the man said, that he referred to Africa and Haiti as shitholes. So I don't believe a damn thing that Donald Trump said. And then you have to also understand that the White House did not deny that this man said this. You know, when this first was reported, they didn't deny this. And then all of a sudden, Donald Trump puts out some kind of tweet suggesting that he did not, in fact, call Africa a shithole, didn't call Haiti a shithole. But yet you had a congressman, you know, actually, I think it's Senator Durbin. Just 1 second. 1 second, y'all. Yeah, so you had Senator Durbin, I think he's from Illinois, who said that this man not only said that word and described Africa and Haiti as shitholes, this man said it repeatedly. And you had others as well acknowledging that this man, in fact, said what he said. But yet and still, you have this tap dancing, step it, fetch it, you know, shoe shine boy trying to pretend like Donald Trump didn't say what he said. And this is just like that house Negro that Malcolm X talked about. The one that tried to put out the fire in Master's house. And that's what this guy is trying to do, trying to literally put out a fire of controversy that's burning away at this White House. And then this guy, Burns, tried to say, well, he's talking about countries that aren't taking care of their own people. He tried to use that as some kind of excuse to justify this vulgarity. I mean, and this is a pastor, man, trying to explain away this vulgarity, this hate-filled speech. You know, the Jesus that I was taught about was a man of love. You know, I was taught about love thy neighbor as you love yourself. That's what I heard growing up. I thought Jesus was a compassionate person, not someone who condones this kind of vulgarity, this kind of hatred, this kind of racism. And, you know, he's talking about, well, it's about the condition of, you know, the countries that aren't taking care of their people. We have to understand that many people that come to the United States are coming because they are fleeing oppression, they are fleeing prosecution, they're fleeing, you know, horrible conditions in their countries. They're fleeing political oppression and all those things. You know, so people that are coming here are not coming under the best of circumstances. They're coming to create a better life in America. And this is supposed to be the country that says, bring me your weary and all that, and this, you know, all that rhetoric about it, helping people. That's what the country's supposed to be about. And these same people that want to limit immigration don't even realize that they are, in fact, immigrants. You know, most of the people in the United States are immigrants from other places. This nation is a nation of immigrants. And, you know, this man went on to say, well, Donald Trump wants immigrants that are going to have something to offer America. Something to offer America. You know, many of these immigrants from these struggling, developing countries, they come here and they work hard as anybody else. You know, they come here and they get an education or they open businesses. They are productive citizens, many of them. So I don't buy that argument that just because someone is from, you know, Africa. I mean, a lot of the people that come from Africa are some of the most educated people. You know, they're the people in the colleges and universities, the professors, the scientists, accomplishing great things, people who are excelling in life, many of them. But yet this man, Donald Trump's want to paint with a broad brush, talking about where they come from being shitholes. And make no mistake about it, he's not just talking about the governments that the people come from. He's talking about the people themselves. He is tarnishing an entire continent of people. That's what he's doing. And the thing is, as was pointed out on CNN, this comes at a horrible time. I mean, it comes at a time when people are remembering the tragedy that took place in Haiti with those earthquakes that took place about 8 years ago or so, and people were displaced and they needed housing and stuff like that. And they needed security, and a lot of them came to the United States. It comes at that time. And, and then this guy wants to bring up this whole thing about we need to take care of Americans here, not be worried about these foreigners and stuff like that, not have these foreigners come here. We need to be concerned about the American people. Of course, we need to be concerned about American people and all that. We need to be concerned about that, but we also need to have some compassion, some sense of commitment to these principles and ideals that this country claims to value, these ideas of liberty, these ideas of democracy, these ideas of opportunity, these ideas of human rights and all that kind of stuff. And the thing is, when people talk about the conditions in Africa, we have to look at the foreign aid, how foreign aid is distributed. And that's one of the things that this guy, Pastor Burns, brought up. He said, well, we give them foreign aid and this and that, so we're doing our part. But that's not correct because, do you realize that Israel receives more aid than all of sub-Saharan Africa combined? That's not justice. That's not righteous. Where you have these struggling, developing countries that have major challenges, many challenges that can be traced directly back to Western imperialism, not just from Europe, but from the US as well. And just like these people, the white man owes the black man reparations in this country, Europe and the Western world, they owe reparations to the continent of Africa. And, any aid that they are providing is a small drop in the bucket in terms of the debt that they owe African people worldwide. So that's my response to that Uncle Ruckus, Pastor Burns. And I'm going to get to your comments in a second. So just bear with me. I'm almost done. But it's just sick that you had this man who a day before this proclamation, this celebration, this parade and charade at the White House, this man spewed racist words. But yet here he is trying to act like he cares about King, like he admires King, like he celebrates King. He's trying to pretend like he actually respects this man. And that's just another reminder of how they have commercialized the legacy of Martin Luther King. They have completely diluted what King was about, and they have created a caricature of who King was. They've created a caricature of him. They've made him harmless. They've watered him down so that he's so watered down to the point where a racist bastard like a Donald Trump can pretend to embrace him. Where a racist bastard like Donald Trump can pretend to be celebrating this man. And it's a shame that you have these token Negroes who are so eager to be seen and heard that they will take pictures with this guy. They will serve as props for this guy, literal props and shields for this man. And by celebrating this man, by supporting this racist bastard, these people are condoning this man. They are condoning his racism. They are co-signing the foolishness. So I'm going to go on to this one other story. First, I'm going to look at your comments in the chat, and then I'm going to proceed to this final story dealing with these house Negroes who love Donald Trump so much. So just bear with me a second. Yeah, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Oh, I'm surprised O'Shea Duke Jackson made a donation. Well, I got to thank you for just making a donation. You know, I tried to reach out to you before. If this is the real, let me check to see. I think this is the real. Let me just look at your page to make sure. Yeah, so I see that this is the real O'Shea. Thanks for your donation. You know, we do need to do a interview. You know, I've tried to reach out to you before. You know, I would love to debate you live. Yeah, so just I'll inbox you or you can inbox me and we can set that up. But I appreciate your donation. Um, you know, but y'all know my position on O'Shea. I've done plenty of videos, you know, challenging his positions on a lot of issues, and I would love to do that live. I would love to debate him live. You know, I challenge all these people to a live debate, whether we're talking about, you know, David Carroll or, you know, anybody on here. I'll debate them. All right, so shout out to Curl, shout out to Rella, shout out to Elaine Lloyd, shout out to Rose Marie. And Elaine Lloyd said, it's hard to believe that during slavery that people were like that. She said she tried to read Gone with the Wind, and the way the slaves were portrayed was ridiculous. I couldn't read it. Yeah, yeah, I mean, they portrayed slaves as happy and docile. I mean, all you have to do is look at the mammy roles that you see. I mean, the woman who won the Oscar, the first black woman to win an Oscar, she played the role of a mammy, and she was, I mean, she was a happy slave, and that's how they portrayed black people. They portrayed us as docile, as loving slavery, as if that was the best thing that happened to black people, to be enslaved by the white man. You know, so yeah, I mean, I get that, man. I don't understand like how, you know, like how those images were put out there and how black people were happy to play those kinds of roles, happy to be the mammy, happy to play the role of the coon. You know, like Steppin' Fetchin' and the woman who played the mammy on Gone with the Wind. And it's like you got modern day mammies and modern day Steppin' Fetchins. And that's who those Republicans represent, man. Those people that were surrounding Donald Trump in that photo that I showed you. Man, I'm getting myself worked up, man. I'm about to lose it. All right. Shout out to Why Not Now, one of my favorite subscribers, and her and Elaine Lloyd. I appreciate y'all. Why Not Now is always dropping some science in the comment section, dropping some knowledge. And she says that she overheard some U.S. senators claiming that they didn't hear what he said. And she points out that they were Republicans. Yeah, I think a lot of these people are trying to find cover by claiming that they don't recall things, claiming that they didn't hear things. And the reason why they're doing this is because they want to have it both ways. They want to still have Donald Trump supporters in their camp, but they also don't want to come off in a way where they appear to be condoning what Donald Trump has done. So they're trying to play the middle ground by saying they don't recall something or they didn't hear something and all that kind of stuff. And Elaine Lloyd says the Republicans got to save face. They can't turn on Trump supporters like that. And then she joked about him being smart. He's a stable genius. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, this guy had to put out a tweet talking about how he was a stable genius and all this and that. He was bright and all this and that. And he actually did like one of these meetings with these Republicans, and he made it public because, he wanted to prove that he was not losing it. Because there were reports that this guy is losing it mentally, that this guy repeats himself over and over again, like he tells the same stories within a short period of time, just sounding ridiculous and foolish and all that kind of stuff. So he had to come out and say, oh, I'm not crazy. I'm not losing it. I'm stable. I'm a stable person and all that kind of stuff. Man, it's a disgrace, man. It's a disgrace that this is what our nation has come to. This nation has come to, where we have an absolute clown, a buffoon, an idiot in that White House who doesn't know what the hell he is doing. Putting out these tweets that could spark some kind of nuclear war. Every other day he's saying something stupid and retarded. Every other day he's saying something racist. But yet and still, you have these fools who support this man. What the hell is wrong with these people, man? I wish I could just interview one of these people and say, what the hell is your problem? Why do you support this man who's shown you time and time again that he doesn't give a damn about you? Who showed you time and time again that he has zero respect for you? Rosemarie said coins are a downfall. Absolutely. I mean, these people will sell out for pennies on the dollar, man. I mean, all you got to do is look at Diamond and Silk. Those coons literally sold their souls for like $1,000 from the Trump campaign. Truly sickening. Those shucking and jiving minstrels. And that's what they are. They put on a damn minstrel show for Donald Trump and his white supporters. They put on their minstrel routine. They are a disgrace to the black race. I mean, it's just a damn shame, man. So yeah, I just want to let y'all know that I'm up and running over here. My new possibilities live streams have been blocked, so I'm going to be doing more live streams over here. And the break is over with, man. I'm getting back on the war path. I'm going to be checking out these people's videos, responding to these people, and I'm not just going to be dealing with these YouTube house Negroes. I'm going to be going at these white supremacists as well. Breaking down their points. Also I'm going to be dissing them, of course, calling them outside of their names, being disrespectful and all that kind of stuff. But I'm also going to break down their arguments. So let me continue looking at these comments, and then I'm going to proceed to the closing segment. There's one other story that I want to touch on that deals with these house Negroes. Why Not Now said, I can't begin to tell you how disgusted I am with these coons and coonettes. Black people have struggled with self-hatred. We are really sick. Exactly. So again, even though we're on opposite sides of the political spectrum, I want to thank O'Shea for making a donation. If you're serious about doing an interview, just hit me up and I'll reach out to you again. All right. Elaine Lloyd said, to be fair, these black people mostly don't associate with Africa. They feel like they're the ones saying they are Indian. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, a lot of black people in America do not associate with being African. They see Africa as completely disconnected from who they are. That's how it is. Some of these people don't even want to be called black, much less African. And that's because we have been so thoroughly programmed to hate Africa and to hate ourselves. We've been taught that Africa is the dark continent. We've been taught that Africa is a quote unquote shithole, as Donald Trump described it. We have been taught that Africa was a place of barbarism and savagery, a place where there was no civilization, a place where there were cannibals and people swinging from trees and people who were basically subhuman on the level of monkeys. Like you all heard about that H&M ad. I've done a couple of videos on my New Possibilities channel about that. But that's how these people see us, and that's how we see ourselves, because we suffer from the double consciousness that Du Bois talked about, where we are looking at ourselves through the eyes of our enemy. You know, where we have the same kind of hatred toward our continent of Africa that the white man has taught us to have. So yeah, I mean, it's like we completely disassociate from Africa. We would rather be anything than African. You know, you have these people that want to be, they want to say they're Moors, they want to say they're Hebrews, they want to say they're aliens, they want to say they're Native Americans, Aboriginal people. Man, Black people want to be everything except for African because they have been thoroughly programmed. I mean, you have these quote unquote conscious fools, these fake pro-Black idiots, these Aboriginal buffoons that want to say that they are Native American, and they completely reject common sense. They completely reject the evidence that we came from Africa. They reject the fact that you have these slave ship logs, proving that many ships traveled from Africa with slaves to America. They want to ignore the artifacts from slave ships and all that stuff. They want to ignore all of those slave narratives proving that we come from Africa. They want to ignore the stories of Africans rebelling on slave ships. They want to ignore all of that to deny that they are African. And again, you know, these people would rather be from another damn planet than to be African. That's how lost our people are. And so, yeah, they probably do disassociate it with it. When they hear about Africa being a shithole, they're thinking, oh, that's Africa way, way over there. That has nothing to do with me. And that's part of the reason why those fools could be surrounding Donald Trump the way they did. All right, so let me just finish reading through these comments. And Sherry Solomon, shout out to you, said he should be mad at his ancestors for leaving Europe. He wouldn't have to worry about Black immigrants. Okay. Yeah, I mean, now that you're here, you know, I see, I don't know if you're still here, O'Shea, but I mean, I would love to debate with you about, you know, that whole situation where you had like 600 Black men show up. 600, about 600 Black men. There were men of other races as well. They showed up at a Dallas middle school and they served as mentors. They were guiding the youth. And apparently, I saw some video clips where you were saying that they were simping and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I just thought that that was absolutely ridiculous. I would love to debate you about that. I'd love to debate you live. I'll debate anybody live. But let me continue on with these comments. All right, so I see this person who's going by the name of Mr. White Tuber. And I wouldn't be, let me try to check out your channel real quick. Another troll channel. But I'm gonna respond to him. So he says this. He says, why all y'all want to do is whine, complain, and beg white people to like you. Nobody is begging white people to like us. That's not what this is about. This man is the president of the United States. In fact, like, his statements are really the least of our worries. The biggest problem are the policies that he supports. You know, the bigger problems are things like this man appointing these right-wing racist men, white men, to federal federal judge positions, where these people are appointed for life, and they have the power to make all kinds of decisions that impact our lives, our basic civil and human rights. It's not about, seeking the approval from these white people. I could care less if they approve or if they like me or whatever. It's about justice. It's about equality. It's about freedom. And we're not begging these people for anything. We're taking it. Everything that we have in this country, every accomplishment that we have made as a people, every striving that we have made has been a result of us struggling. It hasn't been a result of some generosity from this damn white man. We have had to fight for it. We have had to bleed for it. We've had to die for it. And this buffoon said, get a job, pull your pants up, and act like men, cry baby. I mean, first of all, most of us have jobs. I mean, you don't even know anything about this channel. You don't know anything about me. First of all, I'm an attorney, so I have a job. I'm an educated man. I'm not somebody that you're talking about. I'm not the stereotypical black man walking around with pants hanging down and all that kind of stuff. So you don't know who you're talking to. You don't know what you're talking about. And with that being said, let me just go ahead and block you. I just wanted to deal with you first before I take you out. As I've said before, this channel is not a safe place for these punk ass trolls. Trolls get deleted over here. Trolls don't matter at all. An ant crawling on the ground has more value than these punk ass racist trolls, in my mind. So let me continue on. Yeah, and so Elaine Lloyd says that Trump is 70-something years old. His opinion of black people was formed during the civil rights movement, and his parents were racist. And I've heard reports about that. Excuse me. I heard about like how his father was involved in some kind of riot or some kind of conflict, and he was on the side of the KKK. I'm going to do some research on that, and I'll post a link in the description box once I get a chance to. Okay, just bear with me a second. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of people just had that mentality. They just bear with me a second, y'all. I'm trying to find out how to remove somebody. Hopefully that works. All right, so I won't be able to see his messages. Somehow this is not allowing me to just block people. Yeah, changing laws. You're right, Elaine. Changing laws doesn't change people's minds. So Orlando said you were taught about the right Jesus. I'm a Christian. Um, and then he went on to say he thinks that person that Yeah, so he's pointing out like the hypocrisy of that guy, that pastor, and all that stuff. Yeah, that's a good point, Rosemarie. Who made those countries shitholes in the first place? That's a great point. And that's something that I talked about on my other channel, New Possibilities. I talked about the legacy of colonialism, you know, the legacy of slavery, how these Western powers literally drained Africa of its human and material resources, literally raped Africa, carved Africa up. You know, there's a book called How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. You know, that's one of the books that I have to read. And I'm gonna look that book up and read that and probably do a review. But that book documents how Europe destroyed Africa. You know, you look at the destruction of Black civilization, a book that I read and reviewed and all that kind of stuff, that talks about the role of these European powers in the destruction of Africa. And another great book is a book by Eric Williams called Capitalism and Slavery. You know, so I highly recommend those books. They explain the role of this white man in destroying Africa. It's like after they destroy the African continent, these people then want to point out about how messed up the African continent is after they play the role in the destruction of Africa. You know, many of these conflicts were exacerbated as a result of colonialism, where you had these Europeans dividing and conquering Africa. And I have a video on my New Possibilities channel that just points that out. It's like a clip from this documentary that goes through that history, how they had different ethnic groups fighting each other and destroying each other, how they propped up, you know, the most horrific dictatorships in Africa. And after propping up these dictatorships and fueling this violence and raping the continent of all its resources, these people have the nerve to talk about how messed up Africa is when they helped create the mess. All right, so I'll email you, O'Shea. Okay, so you said you just want to do an interview. Fine, yeah, we could do an interview. You know, so I'll email you. I'll look your information up on your channel. You know, I'm not afraid to go to, you know, anybody's platform and talk to them about issues. You know, whether it's just like I went on that, you know, that Obsidian, whatever his name, you know, that guy and his crew's podcast or whatever. All right, so let me see. Just bear with me a second. Oh, somebody asked, what do I think about Umar Johnson? Where is that? Oh, shout out to Orlando Greenhill. Shout out to you. Shout out to Praise the as well. Lord Praise the. Shout out to you. But yeah, somebody asked about what do I think about Umar Johnson, if I'm not mistaken. You should go over to my New Possibilities channel. I have several videos about him, sharing my thoughts about him. You know, right now he's facing some allegations of holding himself out falsely as having a license to practice psychology. He had a hearing on Monday, and a lot of people have been talking about it, talking about how they think he's, you know, how he did a great job and he defended himself well and all this and that. The proof will be in the pudding. The proof will be when we see that decision. That's the only thing that really counts. It's not the rah-rah and all the excitement and all the preaching and, you know, the hype speeches. It's what is going to be written on paper. That's what will matter. And also, I think, like as other people have said, that this is just the tip of the iceberg. You know, a lot of people are going to be asking questions about this guy. There's probably going to be further hearings in other venues. There's a question about the money. 1 minute he's saying he has 700,000. Then in another breath, he's saying it was only 400,000. And then he's saying that GoFundMe took out 150,000, which doesn't make sense if you do the math. So there's a lot of big question marks around that guy. He's not somebody that I'm standing with. You have these people that make excuses for him and defend him, just like the people defended Eddie Long, just like the people defend Creflo Dollar or any other pimping pastor. And it's like in the Black community, if somebody is a pastor or they're talking that Black power stuff, then they can get over on people. Then they can pillage the people, unfortunately. All right, so let me continue on because I could go on for hours talking about that Umar Johnson situation. I've done several videos. Y'all could check those out on my New Possibilities channel. So Orlando was asking about what happened with my New Possibilities channel. Yeah, I mean, it's still up and running, but I just can't do live streams because I was doing a live stream and I was playing video from the Golden Globes, and apparently there's some kind of copyright block on that material. So anytime somebody tries to stream that stuff, YouTube will automatically shut down your live stream, and then they'll take away your privilege to do live streams. So apparently I can't do live streams on my New Possibilities channel for at least 90 days. So we'll see. Yeah, so oh yeah, that was Lafayette who asked about Umar. All right. Yeah, and Rosemarie said the West is still destroying Africa. Yes, that's absolutely true. Okay, and Lafayette said O'Shea should interview Painless. Yeah, that would make an interesting interview. I would like to have a debate with Painless as well. Like on this channel, you all see my video library. You see that I've done videos challenging Painless. And it would just be a debate. I'll debate any of those guys, man, just on substance. I'll have a substantive debate with any of them. Because I think that in the marketplace of ideas, their ideas just don't hold up. But let me go to this last story before I close out. And it's about Omarosa. Just 1 second. All right, so I saw this story right here on News One where someone is accusing Omarosa of having a sexual relationship with Donald Trump. This person is a former star of Atlanta Housewives. Claudia Jordan claims that she's heard from a friend that that Omarosa and Donald Trump have some kind of inappropriate relationship and all that kind of stuff. That there's some kind of affair going on. That's what this article implies. I will post a link in the description box when I get a chance to. And this article really gets kind of vulgar. It talks about like how this person doesn't think that, they talked about whether or not Omarosa was Donald Trump's type. And this person, Claudia Jordan, said that she thought that he was into lighter skinned Black women and all this and that. And then she goes on to say, well, it doesn't matter what she looks like if she's just giving oral sex to the president. So this woman is suggesting that Omarosa has some relationship with this guy and that she's giving him oral sex and stuff. That's what this article claims. I don't know if it's valid or not, but it's like, it raises serious questions, man. It raises questions about whether or not this woman, Omarosa, was literally a bed wench, because, you know, everybody wondered, like, what are her qualifications for this position that she's in? I mean, she's just a reality TV star. What is she doing in the White House playing a political role? What is her expertise? Where is her experience? And no one could really define what this woman actually did in the White House. You know, and that's part of the reason why she got kicked out of the White House, why she got fired. And she claimed that she was going to do some tell-all book. I wonder what's in that book. But after that Michael Wolff book, you know, Fire and Fury, it's like, what else is there to say about this White House? I mean, it's already been destroyed with that book alone. So, I mean, what more can be said? And if this allegation is true, I mean, this is another example of what I'm talking about, man, where these people, I've explained like why no black person should support Donald Trump. I thoroughly explained that. But yet you have this black woman who's allegedly had some kind of relationship with this guy. You know, much like how some people, you know, some black women, you know, like that example that I posted on my New Possibilities channel, where you had this black woman who was in a relationship with a damn Nazi, you know, with somebody that's a white supremacist. A black woman in a relationship with a white supremacist. And as I was doing research for that video, I saw that there was some movie that, what's her name? Gabrielle Union was in, where she played a black woman who was in love with a white supremacist. And you actually had, you know, I didn't read the articles, but apparently the girl who swirls wrote some piece, or her website wrote some piece about it. I mean, it is really sickening that you have some black women who are willing to be with white racist men. And, you know, if this is true, I mean, it's like, first of all, the fact that she worked for this guy, you know, says a lot about her lack of commitment to the black community. And then if she was actually in a relationship with this racist bastard, what does that say about her? What does that say about who she is? But anyway, you know, I just thought I would share that with you all before I close out. So I'm going to look at your last bit of comments. Then I'm going to close this live stream. I want to thank people for tuning in and supporting this channel. Again, you know, the war is back on. I will be declaring war on these people. They had a little reprieve for like 4 months, but I'm back. And I'm going to give them that work, man. You know, I find it hard to find time to actually watch some of these people anymore. Like, I can't, it's been a while since I watched the David Carroll video. It's actually been a while since I watched a O'Shea video. Yeah, I just don't watch them guys like I used. I don't watch, it's been a while since I watched a Painless video. And I don't even think he posts that often now. But it's time consuming watching their materials, but I'm going to try to get back to checking out their stuff. You know, for me, it's just been easier lately for me to just produce my own content and put my own voice out there. But I think that there is a need to challenge faulty ideas, to debate those ideas. I don't believe in censoring people's ideas, but I do believe in challenging their views. Yeah, Elaine, yeah, you said you thought it was 2 weeks. I don't know. I think it's 90 days. I think that's how long it is. I hope you're right. But I think it's 90 days for some reason. They didn't really tell me, but when I was reading the information about having your live stream block, it mentioned 90 days. So maybe that's how long it'll be. But it's such a pain in the ass, to be blunt. Not to be able to communicate with y'all directly. And, you know, the content on this I Declare War channel is different from my New Possibilities channel. And I want to keep it that way. You know, I don't want to blend and mix them up. And while I have people here, I want to encourage you all to subscribe to my second New Possibilities channel. After I get a chance, I'll post a link in the description box to that channel so you all can subscribe to that channel. Also, you all can follow me on Twitter at NewPosBlog. Follow me there. Yeah, so Elaine said, why are we still talking about her? Wasn't she thrown out with last week's trash? Yeah, we're talking about her because of that article that I saw, that I came across in the last couple of days. But with that, I'll say peace and blessings to all of y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I will be getting in touch with you, O'Shea. I'll send you an email in a few minutes, and we can set up a time for an interview. I know your people over there be going crazy trying to attack me and everything, but I'm ready for them. All right, with that, I'm going to say peace and blessings to each and every one of you. I wish you well. Have a good night. Peace.